The footage spread like a virus across the galactic net. A child, maybe 6 years old, pale-skinned, dark-haired, held in the iron grip of the Council's armored enforcers. He wore no uniform, carried no weapon, just a small stuffed animal clutched in one trembling hand. The charge was sedition. The punishment was death. They streamed it live, same as they always did when they wanted to remind the border worlds who ruled the stars. They thought it would break the human colonists on Vespera 9. They thought it would remind her to keep its heads bowed, its tribute flowing. Instead, the child's dying scream cut to the stars like a signal flare, and something ancient buried and patient woke up on Earth. For centuries, humanity had presented itself to the Council as compliant, poor, primitive, eager to join the galactic fold. It was easier that way. Let them think humans were backwards brutes who could barely keep a fleet in orbit. Let them think Earth was harmless. But hidden beneath Antarctica's ice, buried inside the silent rock of the moon, sleeping beneath the Pacific's black depths, Earth's ancient fleet waited. It had been built long before humans knew the Council existed, born of old wars, old fears, old promises that they would never again be prey to any empire. For centuries, it slept, while diplomats and traitors played the fool. The child's death ended that game. The order went out on a whisper of quantum static. Key codes that no living human had ever seen were transmitted to vaults older than the oldest Council records. Deep beneath the Ross ice shelf, a mile-wide hatch split open for the first time in 7 generations. The cold sea steamed and roared as a vessel older than Earth's oldest cities rose into the sunlight, hull black as obsidian, armored like the hide of an ancient leviathan. It was called Nemesis, and it was only the first. On Luna, seismic tremors split the Sea of Tranquility as old silos cracked and bloomed. Engines the size of city blocks roared to life, lifting grav tanks into orbit, empty hulls now filling with human crews who had trained their entire lives for a day they prayed would never come. In the deep Pacific, silent hangars opened like the mouths of sleeping beasts. Submersible dreadnoughts slipped free, engines humming with the song of old codes. Their hulls still bore scars from Earth's last great war, now repurposed, reforged, awakened. When the first Council scout ships saw the signatures, they laughed. Old junk, they sneered across the channels. Primitive humans bringing scrap to a plasma fight. They did not laugh long. The Nemesis moved like a shark through a school of blind fish. No shields, no fancy Council tech, just armor meters thick, kinetic weapons that fired rods at a fraction below light speed, railguns that turned patrol frigates into expanding clouds of metal and meat. It never sent a message. It didn't need to. Across the rim, human colonies answered the silent call. Old orbital yards that had hidden their true output for centuries now disgorged ships that had been disguised as mining rigs and cargo haulers. Merchant captains tore away false registries to reveal hidden missile pods and stealth plating. Planets the Council thought were pacified showed their teeth. Resistance cells armed with Council-made rifles turned them on their masters. Council garrisons went dark overnight. Cut communications, no survivors. Human flags raised where once the Council sigil had fluttered. The Council, blind in its arrogance, scrambled its great fleets. Ships the size of mountains, bright with plasma cannons and drone swarms. They rallied at Vespera 9, where the child's blood still stained the plaza where he died. They thought they would crush the humans there and make another example. But they did not understand the fleet that came for them. The ancient ships did not fight like the Council. They did not care for honor duels or measured orbital sieges. They struck from the shadows, dropping out of cold space inside defensive perimeters, ramming Council dreadnoughts with kilometer-long spears of tungsten. Boarding parties in old Earth vacuum armor fought like revenants, silent, relentless, driving Council officers out of their own bridges with blades and shotguns where plasma weapons failed. The battle for Vespera 9 lasted 4 hours. When it was done, the planet's skies were filled with the wreckage of the Council's pride, glowing embers raining down onto jungles and oceans, feeding the soil with the ashes of a 1,000-year tyranny. A single human carrier broadcast to the galaxy. No more tribute. No more execution. This is your only warning. But Earth was not done. The ancient fleet did not retreat. It split, like the heads of a Hydra, striking coreward along secret jump lanes mapped generations ago, when Earth spies infiltrated the Council's star charts. Worlds that had never seen war in living memory woke to human dreadnoughts dropping from the void, black hulls bearing names written in lost languages. Judicator, Revenant, Widowmaker. They did not bombard cities. They did not slaughter civilians. They came only for Council strongholds, the palaces, the data vaults, the elite spires where the ruling families had feasted for centuries on tribute wrung from human hands. No mercy, no negotiation, only the promise kept when the child died screaming. On Zypher Prime, the Council's jewel world, the High Tribunal gathered in desperation. Their holograms flickered as human jammers drowned their secure channels. Their admirals argued over broken fleet rosters, and supply lines turned to ash. One by one, news came in. Entire fleets refused to fight. Council soldiers laying down arms rather than face the ships of old Earth. Council vassals switching sides for a promise of mercy, and new trade routes under human rule. By the time the Tribunal voted to surrender, no one was listening. The Nemesis arrived in orbit over Zypher Prime, just as the High Lord's escape craft lifted from the palace roof. It did not fire weapons. It spoke, an old machine voice, cracked and echoing through every channel, every screen, judgment. Then the sky split. Railguns punched holes through orbital shields. Dropships the size of buildings rained armored soldiers into the Tribunal's courtyards. They moved like wraiths, go silent. The hum of their kinetic weapons the last sound the Council's inner circle ever heard. When it was over, the human commander, armored in matte black plates, knelt beside the Tribunal's marble steps where the High Lord's body lay broken. He placed a small stuffed animal beside the corpse, a match for the one the child had clutched in his last moments. The message needed no words. Across the galaxy, Council worlds surrendered without another shot. Some begged for mercy. Some simply opened their gates and stood aside. The ancient fleet did not stay to garrison or rule. It left local systems to the new human envoys, diplomats and traders who offered food, security, honest trade. The message was clear. Earth would not rule as tyrant. But Earth would never kneel again. When the last dreadnought slipped back beneath Antarctica's ice, the people of Earth did not celebrate. They buried the child on Vespera 9, in the plaza where he had died. No statue, no anthem, just a simple grave marked with a stuffed animal, sealed in crystal. For generations to come, every human child would learn that story. What happens when tyrants forget that humanity remembers? And somewhere in the dark vaults below the ice, the ancient fleet waited again, silent, patient, unyielding as the species it guarded. If the stars ever forgot, if any power ever dared again to touch what was Earth's, they would wake once more, cold and merciless as the void itself.